Mike Johnson goes gloves off on Joe Biden after reports he's considering executive action on border crisis. Excuse me. Um, and this is it's crazy that he's considering executive action. The irony is if he never would have rolled back Trump policies with executive actions in the first place on day one, then we wouldn't have never have these issues. We wouldn't have this border crisis. And also if he would just stick to the laws that's already on the books, we wouldn't have this crisis. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. Has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store. Also, check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for news as well. All right, let's talk about this news. Now, this comes from Red State, from Sister Soldier. And she reports that on Monday, the mainstream media devoted a considerable amount of attention to an eye opening new claim from White House sources that President Joe Biden was, at long last, considering executive action to try to quell the Biden border crisis. You know, the crisis that he caused. For instance, as Axios reported at the time, quote, one bold move that Biden has considered is an executive order that would dramatically staunch the record flow of migrants into the Southwest. Now, how is that bold though? How is that bold when we already had this stuff in place? But quote, this could even happen in the 2 weeks before the State of the Union address. They also wrote, allowing Biden to say he took action while Republicans just talked. 2 days later, Politico shared that Biden was, quote, considering a string of new executive actions and federal regulations, which would represent a sweeping new approach to an issue that has stymied the White House. She goes on to say that, as my Red State colleague Brad Slager observed, the news, quote, undercuts the past few weeks of claims that Biden was sitting eagerly and waiting on Congress to pass legislation so he could finally take some action. It also undercut years of statements from the Biden administration that his, quote, hands are tied, and alternatively, that there were no border crisis. And that's true. How long has he given the mantra of, I can't do nothing about it, my hands are tied, and there's no crisis at the border? How long they tried to gaslight people until it was in their face and they couldn't deny it any longer. But simply put, Biden knows it's an election year, and that time is running out as far as the majority of voters are concerned for him to do the right thing. So to save face, he's now considering doing something he previously and wrongly stated he did not have the power to do. Facts. That's all facts. That's all facts. And needless to say, the reports of Biden considering some conveniently timed election year action on the border issue as a way to one up Republicans got the attention of Speaker Mike Johnson, who took off the gloves in a statement released Thursday afternoon. In it, Johnson said that the voters whom Biden is trying to fool will not be, and also urged him to enact critical reforms, including putting former President Donald Trump remain in Mexico policy back in place. And that's true. People aren't going to fall for it. We're already living it. It's already too late for him to try to change people's minds on this. I gave the numbers earlier today. 74, and that's why they need to do something now, because 74% of black people believe that there's a crisis and Biden is responsible for it, and 73 minorities believe that. So I mean, and that's most of the people that vote for Democrats right there. So that's why they're trying to do something about it now, because people are speaking up. People know what's going on right now, and they're upset. House Republicans, Johnson said, House Republicans have been sounding the alarm at the catastrophic effects of President Biden's open border policy since he began his term. Last year, I sent a letter to the president to demand he take immediate executive action. He has thus far ignored my demands and the pleas from big city mayors, border state governors, and the American people. Now, in an election year, after the president has surrendered the border to cartels and smugglers, after tens of thousands of Americans have tragically lost their lives due to fentanyl poisoning, after countless unaccompanied minors and young people have been subjected to human trafficking, after millions of illegal aliens have been scattered by the Biden administration throughout our country, the president suddenly seems interested in trying to make a change using the legal authority that he claimed until recently didn't exist. Facts. He goes on to say Americans have lost faith in the president and won't be fooled by election year gimmicks that don't actually secure the border. Nor will they forget that the president created this catastrophe and, until now, has refused to use his executive power to fix it. These reports also underscore just how brazenly and intentionally um, President Biden misled the public when he claimed he had done everything in his power to secure the border. Specifically, the president's alleged desire to invoke Section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which the White House dismissed using for months, is particularly telling. If these reports are true, and the president intends to take action, he can show he's serious by changing more than asylum policy. He should begin by reinstituting the Remain in Mexico policy and ending his administration's abuse of the parole system, along with other critical reforms. And I 1000% agree with that letter. But in a particular delicious twist, Biden's power to shut down the border, if he decided to do so, stems in part from a Trump era border case that went to the Supreme Court, Trump v. Hawaii. In it, the majority ruled, as explained by former immigration judge Matt O'Brien, that the under Section 1182F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, Trump had the authority, quote, to temporarily suspend the administration of certain classes of aliens into the United States. So it's pretty ironic here that Biden, who for the entirety of his presidency and even before called Trump and his supporters racist and bigots for wanting to secure the border, is now considering taking some of the very types of actions he would slam Trump over if the roles were reversed. Further, Biden can do so in part because Trump, during his own administration, fought back against Democrat critics like Biden and their lawsuits to ensure he and future presidents would have that power. You couldn't make this stuff up if you tried. You just couldn't, and that's true. This is crazy. I don't. They see, and the problem is the thing here is they think Biden, the Biden administration think his constituents think people that voted for him are dumb, and they're not gonna realize that what he's doing. He's only doing this. He's only doing this right now is to get the vote. And people aren't that dumb. People know what's going on. They see what's going on. I don't think even if he shut down the border, he would change people's minds because people already see what the leftist tragic policies, what the Biden administration's tragic policies are doing to this country. Because not only the border is what woke them up. The border is what woke most people up right now. And they're seeing everything else now. It's like they got the glasses on, like in that movie, They Live, with Roddy Piper, R.I.P. You put the glasses on, and now people see it for what it is. People see that the economy, everything, the buck stops at his desk. The buck stops at President Biden's desk. So everything that's happening from the economy to the border on down is because of him. And people are now, a lot of people for the first time is now seeing that. But let me know what you think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time.